All right, we're back and we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. We've already got people on sitting here and waiting. That never happens. It must be Jordan.
Yay!
So, as you all know, this is our daily live feed. If you'd like to come work with me, suitsymposium.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, symposium, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. If you're logging on Instagram, go over to YouTube and Facebook because we are screen sharing over there. Jordan is on there. Jordan is not on Instagram. You'll be able to hear her, but you won't be able to see her because she's live on YouTube and Facebook. So if you are logging on Instagram right now, go to my link tree, do the drop down. The YouTube channel is right in there. Click on that and go over there. Subscribe, like, all of that fun stuff. Also, up here in the corner, there it is, right here. QR code right here. CCTS 2024. Ready to go right there. So scan that QR code. It's a free registration for the pre-registration for CCTS. You just have to put your email address in. That gets you into our Facebook. So into our Facebook group, so you get all of the details, everything that you're in the know for the whole event. You get to see the speakers. You get to see the topics that we're covering, when, where, how, who. Jordan being one of the people that's going to be there.
Yay! Cannot wait.
So year two for you, just by the seat of your pants, because that first year, you jumped in at the last minute. We had the sickness, and she came in and rescued us. So. Yeah, we've already got girls that already purchased their tickets this past year. So we've already got a bunch of girls already signed up. So yeah, there's going to be a limited amount of tickets, and 17 of them are already gone. So
wow.
So before we've even opened for this year, because those were girls from last year that pre-purchased. So
and you sell out pretty much every year, right?
We do. We sell it every year.
Awesome.
Yep. We do.
So
we
get on it.
Yeah, we keep it exclusive so that everybody gets their one-on-one time and in-depth work with the coaches that are there, like yourself, two-time Olympians. Now.
That's the first time somebody has said that to me.
Is it really? Oh, I said it in the post I put out for you too.
Woo, that's crazy. Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for real. It's for real. So we can start by that. I always give it like 3 minutes for people to log on, but we're almost at that mark now. So let's start with that before we actually go in and review the show, because we are going to go through the top 5 tonight, you guys. We don't have pictures of NPC News Online, but one of the fantastic benefits of having Jordan here is that we have pictures from the actual show, right? That's who took them. I don't know. I've got them in Dropbox. That's all I know.
I think it was one. There was 2 photographers there. Okay. It was the one that was up on the higher platform looking down.
Okay. Got official photos. They're not. You guys are getting exclusive looks here, you guys. Like they're not even on NPC News Online yet. Like,
no, we literally just got these a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to find stuff that we could go through to review this. And then she's like, wait, I got pictures.
I got more.
So y'all that are on live right now with us are getting the first look at the photos of the show, like literally the first look. So yes. Not a bad deal, right? So nope. Before we get into all of that, tell me a little bit about, the experience of the show and how it went for you and all of that. So just tell me how it went.
Yeah. So first of all, Tahoe is one of my favorite towns. It was my first time competing in Tahoe last year, and I just loved the show. It was really special for Drew and I, my husband. It was just such a great time. So I definitely wanted to come back this year for this show and experience it again. And yeah, and
I love it.
So yeah, it's first of all, the weather here is gorgeous. I know everywhere is like super, super hot, but here it's like 68, 70 degrees. It's gorgeous. But what a great show. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see when we get into it, the stage is just beautiful. The lights, and it's got this like moody blue, purple to it. Chris is the promoter with Center Podium, and he just treats the athletes very, very well. But overall, it was a fantastic show experience. It was a great weekend, and it was really crazy because it's in this very small feeder. And obviously I'm from Florida and I'm on the other side of the world right now to me. And because of how intimate the theater was, it was a packed house. The finals was completely sold out. When I came out, there was still so many people like cheering for me and like calling my name, which is so crazy, just being so far from home. And I'm not around my family and not here with friends, clients, just like my team, but also just, people from the area. So it was so great. The energy in the room was just unmatched, and it was just, I don't know, it was just a perfect weekend, honestly.
Well, that's awesome. So it's a casino, right? Like I was looking at the like some of the behind the scenes like stories and all that kind of stuff. So it's an actual casino that you guys were in, right?
Yeah, and everything's in one spot, which is great. So basically, you get there, it's at Bally's, it's a casino, and there's a theater in Bally's. They have a great gym there. It's one of those places where you just show up and everything's right there. So if you don't need to leave, you don't have to, which makes it very convenient for us as athletes, for sure.
Yeah, and then you have to worry about weather and hair blowing all over the place and all that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
Look at Jamie's on. Look at
Hi, Jamie.
Yes, can't wait to see you at CCTS. Like, so right when we started the live, we're all going to be there, obviously, and here we got Raven's going to be here. So raise your hand if you're in the comment section right now and you're going to be at CCTS this year. Go ahead and type it in the comments for me. If you're not on the pre-registration launch list yet, that's what the QR code is right here. Once this is finished and reposts, the link will also be in the description box on YouTube. I think it's there now. If you're on YouTube right now, I think the description box on the live, it's in there. So so you can hit that up. So look at Maya's on too. Look at that. The whole Tahoe crew is here. The whole Tahoe crew is here.
Get the whole top 5 in here.
I know, right? For real. So if you're here and you're in the top 5 like Maya, feel free to type into the comments what your feedback was and everything too, because we're going to go through some photos. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I saw on the live stream. I did watch the live stream, and I did do my Spotify during the live stream too. But the issue with the live stream, as any feed, is you're not seeing things like you would if you were in person, right? So like a lot of it was blurry. They didn't do any close-ups, so it was all a wide angle lens. So I was going based on what I could see. And I think you mentioned that the camera, and it looked like the camera was up above going down versus at the judges table going up. So there was a lot of things that I saw that I was like, I'm not sure if this is actually happening or not. Like this could be completely different in person, because I just can't tell. So one thing that we talked about, Jordan, was I mentioned that I felt like you looked better when you came out for comparisons, because they did first looks after the individuals. So I felt like you looked better when you came out during that versus when you were in your individual. So can you tell me why that is?
Absolutely. I sure can. So there was one little small issue this weekend. So we went to athlete check-ins, and the great part about the show is everything's in one spot. Everything is backstage. Tanning's backstage. You pump up backstage, but Chris tries to help the pros. There is a secret green room, which the way that the backstage is set up, it's upstairs from the stage. And he wanted all of us to go up there, to hang out and be private, whatever. So literally all of the pros were up in the green room, and we're all waiting. We're all there about an hour early. I was actually the first one in the green room at 10:30, 1 hour before we were supposed to go on at 11:30. So anyway, we get told around 11:15 or so that the judges are going to be taking a break, and they said a hard break before we went on. Also, Masters pros were supposed to go on before IFBB, and then we were told, before Open, and then we were told last minute that they were flipping it. We're like, oh, okay.
I was thinking that myself, because usually Masters goes on first.
Yeah, and we were told minutes before that they were flipping it, which we were fine with. We thought we had plenty of time. So anyway, we're all in this green room. All of a sudden, they're like, pros, we need you downstairs right now. So everybody's grabbing all their stuff and everybody's running downstairs. Nobody is pumped. Nobody's glazed. I was like, had 2 rice cakes in my mouth. There's an elevator, and I was actually pressing the elevator button, and Jamie ran upstairs and grabbed my arm. She's like, you do not have time. Maya's on stage right now. Maya, I don't even think had time to get glazed.
Wow.
So thank God Jamie found me, pulled me down the stairs. Literally, I cut some girl in line for glaze. They literally just did, and I literally was putting my heel on when they called my name to walk out to stage. Wow. So when you guys saw me walk out, literally seconds before that, I had nothing on. I didn't have my shoes on. I had nothing. So I had 0 time to do a pump up.
Yeah.
So came out for my individual. I was a little flat, obviously, in my shoulders, glutes, and then I thank God it was a big show. When I came off, I started pumping. So that's why when I came out for comparisons, I looked a little bit fuller. I was actually able to kind of move that fluid around and feel a little bit better, calm down a little bit, get reglazed. But it was crazy. They said they couldn't find us. And we were like, we were up in the room where you guys wanted us. And then what was crazy is it happened almost again at the night show. They almost didn't tell us again. So Jamie's husband, Greg, actually texted Jamie. He was like, hey, they're calling for you guys. If he wouldn't have wrote that text, I don't know if they would have came upstairs again, but we all came down. We had about 15 minutes, which really is not that long time. So it worked out, but that's what happened in prejudging.
Well, but I wanted you to explain that too, because, you know, when I was on my Spotify, I'm like, she looks a little flat in comparison to what she was in Tampa. I was like, I think she looked a little bit better in Tampa and everything. And then as you guys were in comparisons, like, okay, maybe I was just seeing things.
Yeah.
I was like, or because you honestly, until you get next to the other girls, you don't really know either. So, you know, in the back of my head, I was just thinking, well, maybe it was just, you know, just that's the way it looks like. And now that she's next to the other girls, she looks like she's fuller. But I'm just glad my eyes weren't playing tricks on me.
No, when I tell you 4 minutes before I hit the stage, I'm sitting in this green room with my feet up, eating my rice cake. 4 minutes before I went on stage, I was chilling like a cucumber until I wasn't.
Well, you know, maybe that worked in your favor too. So, and actually,
happened for a reason
too. We just saw a bunch of comments come in. Hang in, big get glaze so I can get glaze. I get pump at all. So I'm happy to share my feedback. Awesome. So Maya's sharing her feedback right now. Tarek said that I should come to the prejudging exactly the way I did at finals, just a little bit more conditioned with a darker tan. I agree with the tan. Yep, definitely agree with the tan for sure. We were talking about that earlier. And I said that on my Spotify too. We'll get into that when we look at your photos and stuff too. But I felt like if you were a little bit darker, you probably would have looked a little bit tighter, you know, a little bit more conditioned. So it was just the tan was a little bit light, especially when you see yourself next to the other girls, you know. So thank you for sharing the feedback, Maya. I appreciate that. That's always helpful. Like I said, it's always helpful when you guys actually come on and say what the judges told you and stuff too, because it just kind of verifies, you know, what we're seeing and helps us to understand if what we're seeing is correct too. You know what I mean? So it helps everybody understand that there is actually a method to the madness behind bikini, you know, because it is, I think bikini is the most subjective division of the whole sport. But it's really not as subjective as you think. Like there's a lot of like very specific things that we see, and that's why somebody will beat somebody else. But it seems a little bit mysterious if you don't know those things. You know what I mean? So it's always nice when we have, you know, you guys tell us what your feedback is, based on what we've said already, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It just all just ties together and you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense now, right?
Makes perfect sense. Exactly.
It's a real thing. Like it's not just up in the air and they picked that person because they thought she was pretty. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like
there's a method to the madness.
Yeah, the method to the madness. Exactly. So always recaps, even if I didn't compete this weekend, right? There you go. So, and as a competitor, it helps you to grow too. It helps you to understand, okay, this is what I need to do better. And if you can keep an objective eye and stand back, then you know, okay, should I get back on stage, or should I take a break, or should I do this, or should I do that? And then it just really helps you become a better competitor at the end of the day too. So that was one other thing I want to talk about before we get into looking at the photos too, was something else I noticed while I was watching the live stream is that everybody was bobbling their posing. So can you tell me a little bit about why that was?
I think it was a combination of two things. I do think in the box there was some sort of pickup or a seam or something. That's pretty much where everyone was getting caught up. Again, everything's backstage. So literally glaze, and you're pumping right next to where they're glazing you. And I mean, these guys are, you know, the NPC guys went right before us. They're down on the floor doing push-ups. They got their glaze is going everywhere. I know all of us girls were trying to grab paper towels. And we were all wiping our feet and our shoes. So I think everybody just a combination of son of like slippery glaze, and then some pickup in the stage. I know I almost ate it once in the prejudging. I was almost there toward the end, and I slipped it last second.
I saw it in your routine, but you weren't the only one. It was a lot of girls. So when it first happened, I think even Maya flipped at one point too. So it was like the first few girls. I was like, what's going on? I was like, then there was like more. I was like, there's got to be something wrong at the stage or something, because this isn't going to be like, this isn't an isolated incident. This is everybody's doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was backstage. I was watching all the girls, and pretty much everybody had some sort of hiccup up there. So I couldn't tell. Obviously, I can't tell you exactly what was up there, but something was on that box that was throwing us all off.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, were you guys able to walk the stage prior to prejudging and all that? Did you get a chance to go on the stage?
That's a great question. No, this was new compared to last year. At check-ins, they actually had all the tables set up to check in on the stage.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't like put our heels on and feel it out because they were all up there. So no, we weren't able to this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and like what Maya just said too, she just kept rolling and rocking it. I mean, that's the thing too. It's like if that happens, that happens. Every one of us is bobbled their posing at one point or another. You just got to keep moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the
worst
day,
thing you can do is show that and let it throw you off. You know?
Yeah, and then see it all over your face, all of your body language. Like, oh shit, I just fucked up.
Exactly. And they don't want to see that either, you know. And when I bobbled, I looked at Tarek and he wasn't even looking. He was down writing something anyway. So I was like, okay, cool, we're good.
We're good. Okay, awesome. So what we did do is we pulled up some photos. So let me see here if I can get the right ones shared, and then we can kind of look through it here. Give me a second. Let's go to the top four first, and then we'll go, or what was the top four first, and then we'll go from there. So this was the four where they, y'all came back at prejudging the confirmation round. And at this point, it looked like it was between you and Wu Bai, with Flora and Maya in third and fourth. I can see a whole lot easier from this particular photo why it went the way that it did. But what was the feedback that you received from Tarek in this in relation to against Boo here?
Tarek told me that he liked my look better. Like I improved from morning show to night show. I believe this is morning show. Yeah, prejudging. So he said I improved my physique. He liked my little bit of a fuller look in the night show. He told me long term going into the Olympia to work on my stage presence. The way I'll put it is less girl next door, more confident and coming out, coming to win. Basically, he wants me to bring that personality of I'm coming to win. He wants me to be a shark, is what he said. So I am going to hire a posing coach from now to the Olympia. Really, dial in on my stage presence, my posing, make sure that that's at 100%. He said too, which I thought was really great feedback. Again, this goes back to what Sean just said. It really, it's the subjective sport, but it also depends on the day. He said, today you were tight enough. Conditioning was great. If you show up to another show, depends on who's standing next to you. I could make an argument that you could be a hair leaner in the glutes, but today it was perfect, which is true. It depends on who you're standing next to. So I thought that was really cool for him to kind of show both sides of that token.
Yeah, because what I was seeing from this look, from the prejudging, I thought that you were in second and she was in first based on your front pose. But then when you guys turned to the back is where I thought you were winning it. And the reason for that's the fullness in the glutes. So I think she has a great glute shape right here. But to me, this is too hard. She's got, the diamond cuts into the hamstring drops, and she doesn't have that projection like you have. She's got great, a great upper outer glute here. But again, you just pop out at me, you know what I mean? Versus she does not.
Yeah.
So,
and that was exactly what he said. He said that's why I won. She was too hard. He liked my bubbliness.
Yeah. And and again, like you said, this day, that was good. That was enough. I think she's going into Texas. I think if she comes in a little fuller, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with in Texas. I really do. I think people
she's a great package.
Yeah. I think people are kind of, I've never seen her before. This is the first time I've ever seen her. And I was like, damn, where'd she come from?
I was talking to her backstage. I mean, she is from China. She just got here a few weeks ago. She's staying for a few weeks. She's doing a circuit. She's going to be competing in the States for a few weeks. I mean, she brought in a great package. She looks awesome. A little bit of fine tuning, and she's going to be a force.
Yep. And then you can also see looking here, I mean, this is what we're talking about with Maya, talking about with her tan being too light. She's obviously the lightest one here on the stage, you know what I mean? But I think actually Maya, I think she has that 3D pop here too, that's like right next to yours, you know what I mean? But we're missing it because of the tan, you know?
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
So,
I agree 100%. I think if she was a little bit darker,
yeah,
we would see a little bit more fullness, and we could have made an argument for higher placing.
yep, I agree. And then with Flora, I just think that Flora's got a good shape, but she's just flat. She's not big enough. She's got to get some more size to her. She's as far as her conditioning, I mean, she's rivaling Wu here with her conditioning, but she doesn't have the size that Wu has. So, that's, I mean, to me, she's in this particular comparison, she's clearly in the 4th place position. And that's mainly just because of size and fullness, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts?
I believe her feedback was more glutes.
Okay.
I 100, yes, but I 100% agree. I would like to see just more of her, just grow.
Agreed. Yeah. She just needs to put another layer on top. Yep.
Yeah.
And like even in this particular transition, you can see it. I mean, she's just as conditioned as Wu is, but she's not as big,
Yeah, that's a great shot to show that for sure. Yep.
She just needs more size. Here. I think, well, these are just some pictures I pulled from Instagram of each of you guys because I didn't have photos. So, and then we have Allie here because we're going to talk about her in just a second. And there's Boo, and I think that's all of them. And then Flora. Yep. And I pulled your videos too. So that's Allie. So we'll talk about her in a second. But here's your video. I pulled your video from your from your Instagram.
From the Instagram. Here's the prejudging.
So, you were talking about coming out as a shark. So where do you see that you can improve your posing here?
Say that again. Sorry, it just went out. I just had a little cutout here.
Yeah. So where do you, and you talked about wanting to come out posing like a shark, where do you see you can improve your posing here? Just looking at your posing routine, what is it that you think that stands out to you could actually improve on?
I just want to come out and just, I think Tarek said it perfectly. I need to come out with more of a shark presence, which translates to more confidence. Yeah. And with more confidence just comes from more posing. And I want to say like believing in my posing a little bit more, right? Like being confident in it. I think that I'm like trapped right now between like my pro level individual and still a little bit of amateur still. So I just got to take it to that next level, and that's really what Jamie and I have really dialed in the last few weeks is like, what is it going to take now to get to that next level and getting uncomfortable, right? I'm comfortable right now. I got my routine, I got this, I got that, but I need to get uncomfortable to really press the limits in order to make that leapfrog jump to the next, level.
Yep. And I can say like, just from watching your routine, like you said, you know what you're doing. You're doing point A, point B, point C, point D. Like, you know exactly where you're going each point, right? But then you got to have that cohesiveness to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's right now, it's like you're doing dance steps. Like, you're doing dance steps versus actually doing a dance, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it works. It's enough. It shows your physique. It does exactly what you want it to do. But like you said, if you want to move up there and compete with that top 10, you got to have a flow to the whole thing. It's just got to be effortless.
Yeah. It can't be enough. I need to set the tone. But you know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good. So that's that. Let's pull up the comparison shots now that we just got, that we're lucky that we just got.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for sending those.
I know, right?
Got them minutes before.
Literally minutes before we went live. So these are the first time that you're going to see this stuff. So let's start with this. So this is the first time that I saw these comparison shots because, this was finals, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Because I personally, I didn't watch finals, so I personally didn't ever see Allie in this lineup right here. I didn't see her. And then Flora. So when I looked at the placings and saw that Flora was 5th, I didn't understand how that happened because I was like, I didn't see that. But this just goes.
They rejudged.
This just goes to show you that the show's not over until it's over. You know what I mean? And looking at it here in this front shot, I mean, I can make an argument for Flora beating Allie for sure, 100%. She's got a good, good shape. I'm not a huge fan of the pose here. I'm not sure what's going on with the arm. I think she might be mid transition or something like that. And it looks like to me like Maya's a little bit turned in towards the judges, which is fine. You should be. But as we go through this, yeah, now she's in her pose. She was just transitioning. So, and Allie, I can see we talked about this too. It looks like she has a little bit of lower ab distension here. So I understand that. Like this does look like a better front pose to me. And they're obviously moving them all around. But did we go? I think we have to go this way. Or do we have to go the other way to go to the back shots? So we got to go the other way to go to the back shots. Let's go this way.
Yeah, they are notorious for rejudging at the show and at the night show. Yeah. And Tarek took his time, both morning and night show. He took his time.
Well, I noticed that in general with Tarek, if he's the head judge, he's going to rejudge finals. I've seen it at almost every show. So if he's your head judge, be prepared. Be prepared. They're going to judge both shows. But yeah, here to me, it becomes very clear why Allie leapfrogged. She's got that fullness. She's got that roundness right here in the glutes. And I mean, if her front pose was really on with that lower ab distension, then I could even make an argument for her potentially, fighting with Maya here. But it's pretty clear to me why she did leapfrog Flora here in this particular shot. So What do you think?
I agree. And we were talking about this before the live. Allie's stage presence is just like unmatched. Like Allie is captivating. Her stage presence is so good. Her routine is so good. She just turned pro this year. She's always looked like a pro through her amateur years. I've been watching Allie for years. Yep. I think if they can figure out how to get her full and keep her tight in that core, she's going to be a force. It's just going to be a matter of time. I know that. And same with Maya, they're still trying to fine tune here, there. It's only a matter of time for her too.
Yep. Well, Allie's from here. She's from this area. So I know right before she won her pro card, she actually won the overall here at the DC Pro Am. So
yes.
So that was pretty cool.
From Maryland.
Yeah. So I've known her for several years coming up in the sport. So it's kind of cool to see how that progresses like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
yes.
But this, to me, like I said, this is pretty clear why she ended up going into that 5th place position once I saw these shots. Makes total sense. And this is why also you can't just rest on your laurels. Like just because you're in that top 4 comparison in the morning doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in that top 4 at night.
Absolutely.
Or the other part of it too is that if you're not in the top 4, it doesn't mean you can't be pushed up.
No.
We saw that happen in Tampa with wellness, with Devin. We talked about that. She wasn't in that first call out at prejudging. And then by finals, she ended up placing 6th, which there was there 6 in first call out or 8 in first call out? But anyway, she wasn't even in first call out. So, and, here, same thing. Allie wasn't in that top 4 comparison, but now she placed top 4, So as a competitor, always remember the show's not over till it's over. Just
That's why it's so important to stay tight. Stay tight between prejudging and finals. Like it's not over.
Yep. Especially if you're up in those in that mix somewhere, they're gonna rejudge you. They're gonna rejudge you.
Yes.
Especially when it's that tight too. So they want to make sure that they make the right calls on these things. Looking at the comments, shout out to Jamie for the picks. You guys are seeing that in the same time Jordan, Allie, and I are. There you go. Perfect. I know. Literally, this was at 8:00. I think that you sent me the link.
I haven't even looked at them.
Photos.
I just saw the link and I'm like, get this to Sean, and I haven't even looked at them.
Yeah, phenomenal timing. I was like, I'm great because we planned this whole thing, and usually we have pictures on NBC News by by Monday at the latest. You know what I mean? So I was like, we'll be fine by Tuesday. Well, we got them. We got them. So yeah. So. At the end of the day, I do think that the placings all shook out how they should have. Again, which is nice to see. It's nice to see to have that consistency. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at like suit cuts and colors and stuff like that, and I feel like everybody did a really good job on their suit in this top 5, top 6-ish range. I didn't see any issues with anybody's suits. There were some issues. There were some issues with suits and like that 3rd, 4th call out kind of thing. So there were some that were way too low, some that weren't cut right, things like that. But as far as that's concerned, I feel like everybody in this top 5 mix, Did a good job on their posing, did a good job on their presence, you know, that kind of thing. There was nothing that really stuck out to me that said like, you should fix this or should fix that. What I see are certain things like we talked about with Flora, she just needs more size. Like when she's standing here next to these other two girls, you can see her shoulders are the smallest of the group, you know.
Absolutely.
She's got great shape. She just needs another layer of muscle on top, you know.
Just more of her.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful look, but that fullness in the shoulders and the fullness in the glutes is where she needs to improve, right?
Yeah.
And I think everybody's hair and makeup looked really good here too. So in the top 5. So let's get over to you two. So again, I think that Wu has an amazing look here, but you mentioned that she was a little too hard, and I can see that through the little bit of striation she's got going on here in the glutes. Her waistline looks really etched in. You know, they don't want to see those etched in abs. Now, one thing I can see with her posing here too is that her hand is covering her belly button. And you don't ever want to do that either. Pull the hand back a little bit. When you cover the belly button when you're posing, it makes you look like you're trying to make your waistline look smaller, right? But yeah, and it doesn't do anything. It's like looks like you're trying to, right?
Yeah. I think her back foot's like a little too close too, and she's almost like narrowing herself. Yeah. If she just kind of brought that back arm back a little bit and opened up that back foot a little bit, she would just have like this beautiful, more it's like silhouette type.
Agreed. I think she's closing herself off just a little bit. Bit. I do like the suit. However, it has a little bit of an orange tint to it. Was it orange in person, or is it just the live stream and photos?
No, it's red. So it's whatever on stage or, you know, under the lights, it does have that orange hue to it in these photos.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe it just goes with a more pure red versus the orange, because I'm just not a fan of orange personally.
No orange. No orange, no yellow.
Yeah. No, unless yellow. I like yellow if you're dark skin. I do like it.
Oh, yes. No, I was just saying for me. No orange, no yellow for me.
No yellow for you.
No, wouldn't look good with the blonde.
No, not so much. And I probably would go with a little bit of a longer top on her too. Like it looks a little short to me. Like yours comes up about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch taller than hers does. So it gives just a little bit more coverage there. And I like that look a little bit better. As far as your front pose, where do you see that you could improve here?
I'm actually really happy with this front pose. Me and Jamie like hammered our posing.
You're like, no, I'm perfect.
I would like to see my core maybe a little bit tighter there, but other than that, I'm happy with this.
Okay, good. Yeah, and that's something that we always talk about. Like I see it sometimes. You have some digestive issues every once in a while, things like that. That was one of the first things I asked you because I wasn't sure if it was something that I was seeing on the live stream. But this is actually probably the tightest I've seen your waistline look in a long time. So
thank you. My digestion was like A1 this show. I just thought of something else that Tarek told me too, which maybe we'll see him in the finals when I came back better. I actually did have some vascularity on my stomach.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I don't like that. So we got to figure that out. So I was definitely tighter going into finals, enough to show vascularness on my stomach area.
What about, because you tend to have some veins through your arms and stuff too. Did you say anything about that?
Yeah, he just wants us to correct that for the Olympia. Okay. Just make sure that we're not coming in too vascular.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's slide through some of these photos here. See if we can get to a back shot. Okay, so back shot here. Now again, she has some really great genetic glute drops, but it's almost that scenario like India, where it's almost like it's a little bit too much. So she needs to come in a little softer. I think that if she came in a little softer, she'd be a little bit more akin to like a Maureen look from the back. But this is just
something you can't tell here too is she's leaning over quite a bit in her back pose, which is something that they did not like. I think if she could have brought herself back a little bit more, and kind of balanced her up from upper body to lower body. Plus, I think her stance here is like super narrow.
I agree with that too. I think she needs to go a little wider in her stance. And now that you mentioned the thing about her bending forward, I can see it. Like I can see it because of her hair, the way that her hair is laying on her back. You can see that she's bent forward. But I think, again, like you were talking about, this camera angle is a little bit of a downward angle. So it's hard to tell that she's doing that. But now that you mention that and I see her next to you, I can see that. I can see that.
You'll see in a few photos, there's some that people like took from the sides, and she's leaning forward quite a bit.
Okay. You know what? And that alone could help her glutes fill out if she just stood up.
Yeah.
People don't realize they get so focused on I need to have hamstring tie-ins, and then you lose the fullness in the glutes.
You flatten your glutes when you push back too far.
That's right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, no, I think, again, personally, I think you won it from the back. I mean, that was my 2 cents. I think it could have been, there was an argument from the front for either of you, but I think you won it from the back. Your makeup was better here too than Tampa.
Thank you, Amber LeBeau. She did not do my makeup in Tampa. So.
Okay. Yeah. Did you notice that in Tampa that your makeup was a little muddy in Tampa?
That was part of my feedback. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. My feedback in Tampa was that my makeup was too gray, too muddy, not enough pop, and too light from the face compared to the body.
Yep. For me, it's more about the muddiness than anything else. That's what I can see. Like if it's a muddy look, I'm like, ugh. And that's what I saw in Tampa.
Yeah. You were right. That was part of my feedback.
Cool. All right. See, hey, I know a few things.
You sure do.
I know a few things.
You sure do.
No, overall, I mean, presence-wise, like I said, look-wise, I think you both have a really beautiful look here. Like I don't see anything wrong with it other than what I mentioned with the top being a little bit small on her. And then we talked about the posing and all that too. Let's slide through a few of these photos here. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to some of those ones that you mentioned are sideways. I know there's a few of those. Let me see. I don't know if I can go back and yes, I can. Okay. Let's see. We got a whole folder of photos, you guys, a whole folder.
Right.
Those are all the awards. I thought I saw some in here that you said that were sideways. Let me see if we can find those.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know if because I literally haven't looked through this Dropbox. So I don't know if they're in this one. Because remember, I haven't even looked at these yet.
All right, so I wonder if that's these. Let's see. This is one of the call outs. Yeah, there's just a few pictures here. This is one of the other call outs.
Can't you guys see that stage though? Like the twinkle lights in the background.
Let me pull back to one of the, yeah.
I mean that you can tell that
you can tell that's a casino. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Casino look.
They have the production.
Yeah, they probably have a show there, a regular show there and everything.
Exactly.
Let's see.
Just
Let's roll through a few of these, see if we notice anything that stands out. Okay, so this is what's her, Laura? Is that what you said her name was?
Her name's Laura Shaymore. Yep.
Yeah.
She's coached by Jamie.
Yeah, you mentioned that you thought she could have placed a little higher.
Yeah, I just love Laura's look, and if you guys can see, she's tall. She's super tall, and to me, she is like the most balanced, tall bikini competitor.
It's really hard to do that.
Yeah, she's got good density, and I love her look. It was her first show of the season, so I know that she's only going to keep improving. And I don't know, I was blown away when I was watching her all weekend. Checking in with Jamie and stuff. She looked really, really good.
And one thing I want to mention with her too, because I mentioned this on Spotify and we were talking about this earlier, when she came out, because of the camera angle, I thought she looked a little top heavy, like she had too much shoulders almost. But now that I'm looking at her from this straight on angle, I'm like, no, she doesn't. You know what I mean? But that's why we also talk about how camera angles make such a difference and why you want to check in with your checking photos from the downward angle and all that kind of stuff. And again, she's tall. She's what, like 5'10" or something like that. So she's gonna look a little different up here than most of the girls who are down here when the camera angle is coming this way. You know what I mean? Like, so
absolutely.
Those are perspective things you have to take into account. And another reason why you can't judge the show from home. Another reason why you can't judge the show from home, you got to go by what the judges are telling you versus what you're seeing sometimes, which I'm very aware of. I was like, I don't know if this is actually happening or what.
Or what am I seeing?
Yeah. So this was the bottom of the top 10, right? So Michelle.
Yeah, because we have Alessia on the left, Michelle on the far right, and then Lizzie Martinez in the center.
Yep. So Michelle looks great. She's one of your Masters competitors. She won the Masters, right?
She did. She won the Masters. Yep.
Yeah, she's going to Masters Olympia. Do you know what Lizzie's feedback was?
I don't. I do not know what Lizzie's feedback was. Jamie.
I know. He's on the live. I know, right? She was another one where I felt like her tan was too light. Can't really tell too much here, but when I saw her in the other comparisons, I felt like she was lighter. Personally, I would pull the toes in on this back pose. I think it's showing too much leg, and probably try to tilt back a little bit more. Alessia is just too lean in general, which is always a thing. She needs to go fill out a little bit. From the back, I mean, Michelle looks great from the back. I don't think I would really change a whole lot with her. She's got some nice 3D pop and all that going on. So that's a really good look for her from the back.
Definitely a beautiful package.
Yep. Which I don't know how old she is. She's in her mid 40s, right though, right? I think.
I'm not sure.
And I think she went to the Olympia in the past too.
Jamie just said for Lizzie, tan and a little, and a little lighter. Also quads were overpowering.
Yep. Hey, do I know my shit or what?
Man, Sean, you are on it, girl. On it.
It's almost like I understand the sport. Oh, something.
Yeah. Hey. Do you
I love being confirmed.
Do you do this for a living?
I know, right? But you can see here, I mean, you can see that she is a little light. She's just, in comparison to the other two girls standing here next to. Michelle, I would say she needs to work on her front pose a little bit. I loved the suit color. And I don't know if they're fully in their pose in this particular pose. And then again, with Alessia, she just needs to be fuller. Just in general, needs to be fuller. And I feel like her suit's too small on her. So I'd like to see a bigger top as well. I'm not a huge fan of these tiny tops. It's almost like, oh no, are you gonna fall out?
I know, keep getting tinier, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
I know. So, but overall, really pretty packages here, though. But yeah, this is a beautiful stage. I mean, look at that. That's really cool.
It's so pretty.
Yeah,
so beautiful.
All the ladies. Well, at least we got the chance to look through all these photos. So yeah, in general, like I said, I think that everything played out the way it should have. I probably would have judged it the same way, to be honest with you. I get why, certain things were rewarded over others, all that kind of stuff. Was there anything that stood out to you during this show that maybe, I don't know, that stood out to you in a good way or a bad way, but the show, anything?
No, I just really I just really appreciate them taking their time, and I was warned about, making sure that I stayed tight in between prejudging and finals and that it was going to be rejudged. Laura Shaymore is actually the one who's been judged by Tarek many times. She's like, he always makes top two work for it at finals. She goes, so be ready for a battle. So Absolutely. In between prejudging and finals, Jamie fed me a couple meals. That's why we, continued to fill out. I'm someone that eats my meals and then just poses, in between, just to make sure that I'm still moving fluid, carbs, blood around, sodium. So I think that really worked to my advantage. And then it was a long time between prejudging and finals, because prejudging was at 11:30 and finals didn't start till 7:30. So can you imagine that time and that anxiety? So just trying to keep my calm, keep my cool, kind of stay off my phone, and I watch Suits on Hulu just to try to do something else, cognitive divert. But I appreciate them taking their time. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a great weekend. I love that Fit Body. We had 3 in the top 5. I think that's fantastic. 2 of Shelby's girls, Maya and Allie, and then myself. So it was great. And then we had the winners photo shoot the next day on the lake, which the top 5 is invited to, and only the 3 of us showed up, me, Allie, and Maya. So we had to, it was actually great. I mean, we all vibed together, we knew each other, and we just had such a great time. And I don't know, I just appreciate it. I think Chris really takes his time and takes care of his athletes, and other than the little green room and didn't know where we were thing, it was a great weekend.
Well, we say things all the time. I mean, stuff is going to happen. You can't control every aspect of a show. And if that's all that happens that messes up, you know what I mean, then you're good, right? And in general, you have the theme of, you can tell when a promoter is trying to put on a good experience for the athletes. You know what I mean? They can't control everything, but at the same time, you can tell when they're putting the effort forward to make it something where you want to have a good experience. And, just little things like you said, having everything in the same place where you don't have to go outside the casino. You can stay there the whole time, like stuff like that. That's very helpful as an athlete. There's little things that if you're not an athlete, you wouldn't think about that. You know what I mean?
No. And until you've been in that place where you go one place for a venue, one place for makeup, one place for a tan, and you're running all over the place, you learn to appreciate when a promoter takes that into consideration.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So before we finish out here, guys that are on the live stream right now, take a minute if there's any questions that you want to ask, because we don't have guests on here very often. I feel like people like me. I've got a friend.
I love you.
If you guys want to ask any questions of Jordan, feel free. This is your opportunity to type them into the comments. We'll pay attention here. I'll leave this open for a few more minutes as we're starting to wrap things up here. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the live feed too, like I said, we just opened pre-registration for Cuties Conquering the Stage 2024. Just opened this afternoon. It's a free pre-registration. All you got to do is scan this QR code right here. You put your name and email address in there. That gets you in. We're putting everybody into a Facebook group this year so that you guys get access to, we're going to do lives in the Facebook group. You're going to get access to all the speakers, all the sponsors, all that kind of stuff in there, even before we sell any tickets. That said, we already have 17 tickets sold. So from the girls that came last year. So they will go very, very fast. So, get in there. If you're curious about it at all, get in there and just take a look and, talk to the other girls that have come in the past. Jordan was there last year. Jamie's there every year. She comes back every year. I guess she likes me a little bit. She comes back every year. But it's a fun girls' weekend, and you learn a lot too. So it's a really fun experience, and we'll do lots more videos and lives and stuff like that going into that in a little bit more detail too. So with all of that, what's on your plate next?
We're shutting it down. We're shutting it down through the Olympia. I just want to focus on bringing my best to the Olympia. Last year was my first Olympia, and I did 12 shows last year, including the Olympia. So 11, leading up, and I was very tired, not fresh. So I want to do better this year. And I think a part of that is protecting my mental space and coming in fresh. So nothing through for right now. To the Olympia, and then just focus on bringing my improvements. I have a lot of my girls that are getting ready to compete in the next few weeks, so kind of taking off my athlete hat for a moment, putting my coach hat on and focusing on them. And whatever Jamie says for the next 11 weeks, 4 days, that's what we're going to be doing. So we're just going to dial it in for the Olympia, and I really want to bring my best this year. I want to improve from last year. I was 4th call-outs last year. I would love to definitely leapfrog that, and I think I can do that. I definitely think I can do that.
Awesome. And you're going to Texas this coming week as a coaching hat, right?
I am, yeah. So Angela White, she's a wellness pro. My husband coaches her. She's our team manager for Body Fusion. She's competing on Friday, so we're going to go out and support her. It was in the back of my mind all weekend. I really wanted to pull out a win so I could go and support her. And now I'm just really excited that I'm able to go do that and help the other athletes that are going to be there as well. Just I love to coach. I love to be an athlete, but I also just as much love to coach and be there for everybody and give back to the sport. So I'm glad that I'm able to kind of switch hats this weekend and get to my roots.
You get to eat and stuff like that too. Like when you coach, you don't have to put the tan on. You don't have to do all that crap. You get to have a little bit more freedom when you're coaching.
I get to show up in comfy clothes.
Yep. That's right. Yep. So we got a couple of questions that are coming in here. So Kelby asked if you've already entered this disregard, like, did you make any significant changes between Tahoe and your last show, which was Tampa? Was there any changes?
Yeah, so my show before that was the weekend before in Tampa. Leading into Tampa, I didn't realize it, but I was extremely stressed. So I was dealing with a lot of digestional stuff and some mental stuff. And it was funny because when I didn't realize it. It's so funny, like as an athlete, you just really get into robot mode and then you stop really kind of recognizing what you're feeling or what you're not. And then when I went to go check in with Jamie Thursday before Tampa Pro, I literally saw her and just cried in her and Greg's arms. I saw them and I just released it. So whatever was going on, definitely de-stressed and got my mind right. Something else that we did too is I've been tracking macros for years. We switched to a meal plan.
Okay.
Very structured meal plan. I mean, timing of everything has been accounted for. I didn't think I would like it, but it was much easier. And so that was something that we changed. Also, I was with Jamie from Tuesday before the show all the way through show day. So just having her and have her eyes on me, we did a lot of posing. We made a lot of adjustments. I mean, like before dinner every night, she was like, "Get your suit on. I want to see you. Let's pose." So just having that, just a little bit more attention to detail. And then just me showing up and my mindset. And I wanted to win this show. I really, really wanted to win this show for me, for being in Tahoe, for everything that it stands for. So those were the biggest changes. And I tell people this, or my clients all the time, the brain goes where the brain goes, the body follows. And I think that was the biggest thing that I have changed the last 2 weeks, is just trying to get this right. And now everything else is starting to come to fruition now, finally.
How that works. It's so connected to your brain. People don't realize it's like your thoughts become reality. 100%. They 100% do. Yep. So there's another question, but this is actually kind of a takeoff of what you said. Are you going to do any shows just prior to the Olympia? Are you going to do anything like warm up or anything like that?
It's not my plan. It's not my intention. But who knows? Jamie is famous for throwing people in last second if she wants to or thinks to. Like I said, I am definitely the athlete that if my coach says to do something, I say, "Yes, ma'am," and I show up. So for right now, her and I literally just talked a couple hours ago. We're not doing anything until the Olympia. That is the current plan, but I can't make any promises.
Well, no, I mean, Olympia is just around the corner. It's only 12 weeks out. You know what I mean? Less than, so
exactly.
There's not a whole lot of time to take a break or a breather. Like you can kind of take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, but you can't go completely off and go into an off season. You know what I mean? No. So it's like, you just
I was really proud of myself this past weekend. I actually just stepped on the scale right before this call, right? So it's like 6 o'clock here in our time. I actually am at stage weight as of right now. So it's, it's just a different mindset for me, right? Like, right. We only have 11 weeks. Does that give me a little bit of time to rest? Yes, but it's really not that much time, right? So it's just a completely different ball game. You gotta take those things into consideration.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, like you said, like the pressure's off now, like you can relax, but you don't have to feel like you're like, okay, I have to keep, like last year, you had to keep going. Keep going. So you don't have to do that this time. Now you can breathe a little bit and just say, okay, let's focus on the areas we need to focus on and not get all hyped up and crazy about it. You know what I mean? And just go nice and easy into it. So it's a good place to be. Because these shows,
and if a show makes sense, then it makes sense for me. Right. But for right now, it doesn't make sense. So,
and these shows in the next few months are going to get ridiculously difficult. Like, Texas and everything coming up is ridiculous. It's just going to be people really trying to fight for those Olympia qualifications at this point. So now you're like, oh, I'm done. I'm good.
And it's been a weird season. I don't know if you've noticed. I mean, it was like all the top pros, they were out kind of in the early year. Now they're kind of resting, but now they're some people are coming back out. We still haven't seen Daraja. Daraja still needs to come out. Issa's coming back out this week. There's a lot that still needs to happen.
Which that reminds me, I thought Daraja was supposed to do Texas, and she's not on the list again.
Yeah, I think they need a few more weeks.
Oh, I just realized that. That just literally just popped in my head. Oh,
yeah. Okay. So I don't know when she's coming out. I mean, I would love to see her. She's definitely going to be coming out at some point. So a lot of people are coming out later and so close to the Olympia. Yeah. So it's just been a weird season, So to be able, just like you said, to get the win now, when I do still have now 12 weeks, that takes such a load off my heart, my brain, and it's what I needed compared to last year, knowing that what my kryptonite was how many shows I had to do, and how not fresh I was. By the time I showed up to the Olympia, I was like, oh my God, I've been prepping since January 1st. It was a long year. So I'm really excited to have a completely different approach, to come in fresh. I'm feeling really good. The fire is lit. So come what may.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great place. You're in a great place right now, right? Now it's just easy sledding into the Olympia, right? So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Hopefully. There's always stuff that happens. There's always going to be bumps in the road, so it's never going to be like this. It's going to be like this.
Of course.
Up, down. Down. It's a little easier, just a little
bit.
Yeah. So, Well, cool, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, and also thank you for like offering to come on too. I appreciate that. So,
I love you, cuties. I love all the cuties.
Pros that are here that come and join us on live. If you ever want to jump in and do one of these with me, just reach out. Like that's exactly what Jordan did. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So all about it. We need to get more support for the female side of the sport, doing this kind of stuff. We were talking about that. The guys do it all the time. We need to step it up.
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
why are guys having successful podcasts and we're not? We need to do this.
I know. We just need to get on here and do it, man. We just need to do it. So I will be back on tomorrow night. We will preview Nashville and Texas tomorrow night because I'm going to Nashville. So I'll be in Nashville starting on Thursday. So Jamie, I'll see you in Nashville again. Yay. So I go to Nashville every year. I used to live in Nashville. So my best friend still lives there. It's a lot of fun whenever I get to go back. So it's gonna be a good time. And that's about it. Do you have any other closing thoughts you'd like to leave us with tonight?
No, I just want to say thank you. I've seen all your guys' comments. I have some of my clients on here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for all of your questions. And I hope that I gave you a little bit of insight. And I just love connecting with all of you guys. And I'm really, really, really excited to see all of you again at CCTS next year. Yeah. My clients that are on here, look at this event. It is an amazing event. It is once in a lifetime. Her name is Sean Couture for a reason. It's at a beautiful hotel. It's a beautiful venue. It's a beautiful production, and you learn so much. And the connections with the girls that we all have is just indescribable. I'm getting goosebumps again. Every time I talk about it, Sean, I get goosebumps. So yes, CCTS.
Laughing, crying, all of that.
Yeah.
Wrong.
All of it.
When we all get a lot of estrogen in the same room. So
yes, pretty much.
It really is. It's an experience. I always try to tell people, like, I can't explain it until you're actually there. So it's just, we try to, just like we were talking about with the promoters that try to create a great experience for their athletes. We do everything we possibly can to create the best experience that we can. And like you said, couture, you're not going to find it anywhere else. It's one of a kind. So I can hype it up because it's mine, but it's the truth too.
It is. It's indescribable. No, it is. And you can't put it into words until you're there and you feel it, Right. So I'm excited, super excited.
Yay. Well, thank you for joining me, ladies that came on, and men, if you're watching, probably not. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us all the feedback. Jamie, thank you for sending me all the photos and everything right ahead of the time of this. Appreciate that too. That was very helpful. Y'all here on the live, you got to see them first. They're nowhere else. So congratulations to you. Again, QR code right here. The link is also in the description box on YouTube. So click on that, get over to the Facebook group and everything and get in on the fun. And then we will see you back here again tomorrow night, 8:15, same time, same place. And we'll preview this coming weekend's shows. And that's it. SuitsImposing.com. There, I gotta end out with that. All right, guys.
The plug-in.
See you later.